Do we think Kyle Whittingham is going to be coaching in 2026? Because nothing about the way he sounds in his press conferences or he's approached this season has felt like a farewell tour. Last year felt like a farewell tour. You were on this show, Alex, in the offseason and said it was supposed to be Kyle's final year last year, and things changed with how off the rails it's gotten. Well, I'm sitting here right now. Look, maybe if Utah does get in the Big 12 title game race somehow, they win it, and then Kyle's like, you know what, this feels like a good point to exit stage left. But let's also remember back when Kyle Whittingham was talking about that, Las Vegas Bowl, or not Las Vegas Bowl, but that opener against Miami, he was talking about in 27, he probably won't be in this chair. So he never has even said like, oh yeah, I'd retire before 26. He sounds like a guy who might coach in 26 right now. And if I had to lean one way or another, I might even lean towards him coming back in 2026. Where are you right now at who will be Utah's head coach next year as we sit here in the midst of a bye week in the middle of the 25 season?
I mean, I'm still going to go Morgan Scalley. When it comes down to it, look, I've said it on the show before. Kyle's a legend. Kyle gets to go when he wants to go. You're not going to force out a legend. Now, at the same time, too, I mean, I mentioned to you guys last year, the team was made aware week 4 last year that it was his last year. And then it ended up, backtracking, which anybody can backtrack. Anybody has the right to backtrack, right? But that was the assumption. That was the plan. What I've been told, just through different contacts and everything is that, this is fully expected to be Kyle's last year. That's the assumption that I've gone and ran with. They have done things behind the scenes on a very smooth transition bridge between him and Morgan, especially when it comes to the guys with like the future of the program and stuff like that, player wise and so on and so forth. And so there's really not a concern. If it does end up being his last year or if he goes one more, the concern is going to end up starting to be, if Kyle stays, how much longer can Morgan sit back and be the good soldier?
Yeah.
And keep going along for the ride, because Morgan's going to be wanted this year. And
for what? Wanted for what?
I will be surprised if he's not in the thick of it as a finalist for other head coaching jobs if Kyle does not retire. Okay.
What level though?
If Kyle,
what level? Like, I don't know if he's going to be for P4 jobs, right?
I could see. Yeah. I mean, I could see low level P4.
Oh, you could. Okay. Interesting.
I could
make sense then.
I mean, I know Oklahoma State likes him. They're not gonna take him. They're not gonna take him. I would assume that they're gonna take somebody more, within the oil country area, right? But Morgan is highly respected. And just the fact that everybody highly respects Kyle, and when he has his handpicked successor, and if it continues on that, it's that he's got to do another year as a DC, then, those teams are going to see that it's ripe for the picking and take somebody that they might know that they'll probably have like maybe a couple years of growing pains, and then it's off, right? Like it is just, send off. I mean, Morgan was more than capable of being a head coach 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, man, because if you would have asked me right after the BYU game, Kyle's done.
Yeah,
done. Especially after the comment that he made where he kind of one up the guy pretty quick on, well, you've lost 3 straight, so does that? Well, I mean, I also won 9 straight.
Yeah, that's what we're really thinking about right now.
But yeah, there's things that like I'll hear just from a mood standpoint behind the scenes sometimes that I'm not going to talk about necessarily right off the bat or ever. And, this time right off the bat, it was interesting, right? Because started hearing some stuff thinking like, okay, maybe this is going to go south, but then it picked up fast, they righted the ship fast. And so my thought on that, thinking like, okay, yeah, Kyle's definitely done, it immediately changed. Now all of a sudden you've got this stuff where they're riding high and the JT's quote unquote juggernaut. I'm not gonna have that clipped with my name on it. and showing all these signs, right? And who knows if Utah goes 10-2, misses the championship game, but everything's riding high, and all of a sudden Utah suddenly has an offense that excites Kyle, and it's like, oh my God, well, if I just beef up this and this with it, like I can go to the playoffs next year, right? Yeah. At one point, it's gotta where it did with McBride, and I'm not saying like Kyle's gonna go out when Kyle wants to go out. Okay. So it's not like McBride, but like McBride hit a point where he plateaued. Okay. And the only way Utah was going to reach that next level is if they were smart with who they hired as the next person. Utah did that right. Okay. Has Utah plateaued? I'm not saying they have, but has Utah plateaued? With that, is Utah going to have the right succession plan going forward and hire the right guy? Kyle believes that they have that in place. Some of that's up to him where he wants to look at that and look at his legacy too. Because if he stays another year, like I said, it's that much more highly likely that Scalley will go elsewhere. And if the opportunity presents itself, obviously, which there are going to be options out there, right? And then what does Whittingham have to sit back and look at his legacy? Is he going to need to coach another 5 years and then, and then groom his next quote unquote Scalley, And so it's not an easy answer. It's not an easy thing for Kyle to sit back and just come to a conclusion on either. So it's going to be really, really interesting in over the next month here.
I'm surprised you've pushed back so hard on Juggernaut. This team is playing like a top 15 team in the country right now. Several power ratings. Wait. You've talked the whole show. Can I get a word in? Can I get a dang word in, Mr. Markham? Can I get a word in? This team is power ratings wise above BYU in so many things right now. Their point differential is one of the best in college football. In a lot of ways right now, they are playing like a juggernaut to me. They are annihilating these teams they're playing right now, Alex, right?
Juggernauts aren't, what are they, 7-2, 8-2?
Yeah, I'm just talking about what they look like right now.
Juggernauts aren't 7-2, JT.
I know, but you're the one talking about they could beat Tech and BYU too.
When Utah goes to the Big 12 championship game and they play BYU, what's the percentage going to be crowd-wise?
Crowd-wise? Well, it's in Arlington. Probably still more BYU than Utah? What do you think?
I mean,
my gosh, you trying to get me to say
I would say 65-35 BYU. I would, and I'm not slamming Ute fans on that. Like this has been a big season for BYU. Let's be real; they do have a bigger fan base.
Absolutely,
and it's more national. So that's not a slam on Utah. No.
But first, this crossover episode of Locked On Utes and Locked On Baylor is brought to you by our great friends at DoorDash. How great is DoorDash? Because especially with college football, it's the perfect combination. And it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Like for the Utah Utes, if I was to go back a couple weeks ago, I'd probably say Ryan Davis. He had over 100 yards. If you're listening to this and you go for Baylor, you could say Sawyer Robertson for just what he's done all season. Pressure was on. Those guys have come through. Their performance wasn't a fluke. They're building on what is now a streak. And just like those players delivered for the Utes and Bears, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period ends November 18th. You can start your streak today. Alex, please let everyone know where they can find more of your work at.
Absolutely, man. God, dude, I could talk to you on this forever, man. I always appreciate you, bud.
Appreciate you.
So doing more of an independent thing now because I'm working on a few other projects on the side that I'm going to be hopefully getting out within the next 6 to 12 months. But, same utenation.com platform, same utenation.com, a little bit of a different platform. We're doing a promo right now, man. So thank you for asking me about it. It's all caps Ute 50. Head on over there, just for some great info. Got a great staff. If you go over to YouTube and look up Utah Utes at Ute Nation, or just the Ute Nation podcast. A lot of great things going on with that.
Alex, really appreciate you coming on. Make sure you guys give him a follow on X as well. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Utes. Be back with you tomorrow talking more about Utah as they rev up for Baylor in 2 weeks and continue to get better during the bye. We'll see you then.